Because I want this training to be there for you guys as well, for you to share with your teams to say, well, have you watched the 3 legs of success on sales or PRV or whatever. So I want this to be very useful for your teams. And I know that some of those longer trainings, it's really hard to kind of get through. So I want to make sure that I value everybody's time and get through this. So the first thing that I wanted to say is the reason why we're doing this training is because if you really want to run a super successful business, you have to have a balance of the 3 legs of success. And I'm going to share my screen for those of you that may have never seen the 3 legs of success before. This was actually created by Justin Cox and Chloe. And basically what it says is that you need to focus on building systems around these 3 legs, and that we always need, and I know that there's typos, this is an old one, and I couldn't find the newer version, of course, when I needed it. So the 3 legs are sales, recruiting, and coaching. And then we've also kind of added a fourth one to just kind of be up here, and that is self-care, because you can't run a successful business without taking care of yourself. So tonight we're going to focus on the sales aspect of the 3 legs of success, and we're going to talk about systems that you can use to help yourself be consistent, because it honestly doesn't matter what you do if you're not doing it consistently. If you couldn't teach your team to do what you're doing, if you couldn't teach an assistant to do what you're doing, because whatever you're doing needs to be simple and duplicatable and easily taught to others. So when it comes to sales, we all know how we get sales. We get sales through bag parties, home parties, events, a follow-up system, and then we have tons and tons of LTOs. So every month we have the Whiff Box, we have Scentsy Club, we have all of these specials that are now coming out and everything else. So sales is something that we all really feel strongly about. Is if you are able to consistently get 2,000 PRV a month, then that is showing that you are really working your business consistently, because that means you're having a lot of conversations, you're having a lot of parties, and you have a constant influx of customers, because it's going to be very hard to consistently sell 2,000 PRV a month if you aren't consistently building your network. Building your network is something that you can never stop doing. You can never stop partying. You can never stop meeting new people, because there's always going to be a cycle of people who are entering and leaving, whether it's because they joined your team, or because their best friend joined Scentsy and they're going to buy from them, or one of your bag party customers joined, so then those customers are going to go with them, or whatever. Sales is a really large part of your business. Now, when it comes to systems in your personal business, it's really important for people to understand that they do not have to be difficult. They shouldn't be difficult. And I am going to pull up some menus when it comes to your personal business for you guys to look at. So I'm going to share these as well. And just like what we said a minute ago, we were talking about PRV activities. So what I want you to do is, while you're looking at these things up here on my screen, is I just want you to jot down the PRV activities that you already do. What is your follow-up system? That is one of the first things that every single person needs to get under control today. And I personally love Sell with Amy, or previously known as Maven. I love that because it holds me accountable, and I don't get overwhelmed by all of the notifications, because I turn it off and I just do my Maven once a week. Now, what yours looks like may be completely different, but everybody should be writing down follow-up system for customers, because everybody needs to have a follow-up system. And then the other things that are PRV activities, things like having your own open house, promoting Scentsy Club. This is something that I feel like I very much underutilize, because if you are adequately promoting Scentsy Club, you could literally have 500 every single month just from Scentsy Club orders. And that is my goal this spring, especially as we get closer to Bring Back My Bar and when things discontinue, is my goal is to have at least 500 PRV coming in from Scentsy Club every single month. Now, your Scentsy Club people aren't always going to get a shipment every month, so that's going to take a lot of work on my part to make sure I'm being intentional with that. And yes, I have my own Scentsy Club order that comes every 3 months, so I can count that in there. So that's something that I am doing consistently as well. It's on my checklist. Okay. Sorry, my husband just came in here and is like telling me something. I'm like, whatever. Okay, so, and then when the other thing that I see on here, that even though it says handing out samples, handing out a sample is not a PRV activity if you are not getting those people's contact information and therefore following up with them afterwards. Because if you're just giving away samples, then you are throwing money out the window. Okay. And so the next thing on here is booking parties. And then where this says going live on Facebook with product, it doesn't even have to be going live anymore. Stories sell. And if you are not listening to podcasts or training yourself on how to sell on stories with Instagram and Facebook, I really encourage you to write that down and start training yourself on that, because we went over some statistics and a lot of stuff this weekend when I was at this retreat with the other superstar directors. And Justin, that's actually like what he does, is a lot of social media marketing for these companies that he runs. And he was telling us statistics on actual posts versus stories and the interaction. And up to 75% of people don't even listen to stories. They have their sound off, because a lot of people are doing multiple things, or they're at work or whatever. And so sometimes I know that I even do this. I just go and post on my story and I'll be talking, but I don't necessarily have a caption. And that's something that I'm going to be a lot more intentional about now. And even though that may not be something that is going to make you money right away, you're staying relevant and people are watching you. So write down what these PRV activities are going to be. You definitely have to have one for a follow-up system, and then booking parties, whatever that system is going to be. Now, these other ones are also for personal business. This is customer service. So these are things that are also going to be definitely necessary for your business, but it's not going to be part of the sales 3 legs of success. It is part of the customer service though. So this is something that you do need to do within your personal business. Now, when it comes to these menus, I never want you to look at all of those and say, oh my gosh, I have to do all of those. No, you don't. I would suggest picking 2, maybe 3, and getting the hang of it and rocking that out before you ever decide to do something else. My suggestion, obviously, would be thank you cards first, because you need to be writing thank you notes to all of your people that order online. Anybody that is getting an order from you in a bag party, I have this flyer right here that has a little bit about my family, and I write on the back of it, and it's super simple. Sample mailers for scent of the month and specials, I do that as well. I mail, that gives me a reason to follow up with my customers. But if I am just doing the scent of the month and sending it out but never following up with them, I'm throwing money away, because those people are not going to necessarily contact you right away because they have lots of other things going on. Okay. And then always building relationships. That's part of customer service. That's something that never needs to stop. And then there's just lots of other things on here, but pick 2 or 3, become really good and consistent at it. Consistent means you do it all the time. The prospecting and sponsoring, there is a menu here. I'm going to leave this for the next video or the next training, because this is something that is not as sales based, and today I really want to be consistent with the sales based stuff. If you want these lists and you want to be able to look at them, they are always in my Google Drive. they are under, I've tried to put everything under shareable files, and you can go through there and find all of that for you to look. It's actually called Ideas to Create Your List, and it has things for personal business as well as leadership. So that is that. So I want you guys to tell me over here in the chat box what systems you already have, or if you don't have a system, something that you want help with creating a system to help you stay consistent. Because the most important thing for you guys to realize is that if what I have isn't working for you, that's okay, because my brain works a lot differently than Faith and Felicia's and some other people, even Anna on our team. Their brain is much different than mine. But for me, my mind is always running 100 miles an hour, and I have to have things written down in front of me. So I want you guys to tell me a system that you have, or something you're struggling with, or how do you follow up with your customers if you use Maven. You can type that over there in the chat box for me. And that would be fabulous. And then I'm going to share with you guys what I have. And that's why I wanted you guys to really write down what you wanted to do so that it can make sense for you. Okay, so Jessica said, I use Maven for follow-ups. When I hand out systems, I fail to get their info. Is there a tracker that works best for samples and cent of the month? I personally need to set aside time for Sell with Amy. Okay, you need to contact customers. I use Maven. Okay, so what I want you guys to do is decide if you are going to use Maven. And like I said, you can't, if you're not comfortable with Maven or you don't like it, don't use it. Come up with something else. For me, I only do my follow-up once, maybe twice a week. And that's because I'm so busy that I only am going to sit here with my phone and follow up. Okay. There is a group on Facebook for Amy. And so there's lots of things in there. If there's something specific that you guys want to know how to do in Sell with Amy, you can ask that, and I will definitely tell you as much as I can. If you don't pay for it, I will say that the paid version is better and you do get more benefits with that. But I also want you to know that you need to, if you're going to use Maven, you need to go in and edit all of your notifications and edit your settings and edit the things that like for your notifications and stuff, because what I would do is, you know, it syncs from the workstation, right? So when it syncs from the workstation, it would want me to follow up with somebody like 2 days after they ordered. And that just didn't work for me. And by the time I went in to go and follow up with them once a week, I would have 2 or 3 notifications for that one person. And that was just wasting time. So definitely go in and look at your notifications. And so let me go and look. Okay. So I would pick a day that you want to do that. Or maybe you want to say, okay, I have 30 minutes. Let me go and knock some out. That's definitely the only way really to get consistent with that. I wouldn't suggest doing it every single day unless that brings you joy. You need to figure out what's going to bring you joy. For me, following up that way is really stressful every single day for me because I put all of my mail outs, it syncs from the workstation. I put everything in there. Okay, so Elena, I know I'm saying your name wrong. So if you have not downloaded the Sell with Amy app, I want you to give it a try, especially if you're brand new, because that is the easiest thing to learn. So if you're brand new, please download the app. Don't pay for it right away. Wait to see if you like it. And like I said, definitely still go in there and play with the notifications to be what you want it to be. For me, mine is set to follow up with somebody after I mailed a sample 5 days later, because we know that it's going to at least take a couple days for it to get to them. And I want to make sure that when I do follow up with them, they've actually gotten it from me. So Yeah, so Jen says that she wished that they could do mass scent of the month. So that has been a suggestion on that in that group, and they said that they are working on the capability to do that. So we're hoping that doing it mass will come, because it is very annoying, especially when I do 50 mail outs to go in and put them in. The only thing that I've really found that helps is if I'm going to do scent of the month, you can type in like scent of the month var scheduled, and then I just copy that. So then every new customer that I go in, I just paste that in. And so it goes a little bit faster, but it is still time consuming. But what I found is that if I didn't put it in there, I wouldn't go and follow up with them. So Patty, if you're not sure how to do that for giving samples, you literally just click contacts, you click that person's name, and then at the top of your app, this is probably going to be really hard to see, you can click actions, and it'll say record sample, record order, new note, create wish list, merge, or delete. Okay, so you go in and click record sample, and you can search it and stuff like that. There is a group on Facebook that is dedicated to that. People do videos in it. I would definitely suggest going to that. Jen has a binder system, and I used to use that, and it just didn't work for me. So that's why I don't use it. I suggest Maven at first because it's a lot easier to learn. If you are more of a pen and paper kind of girl, maybe that will work for you. And Jessica, I'll show you what Chloe does for hers. Yes, Anna, and that's Anna said follow up Friday, and that's exactly what I do. And when I originally created these systems like forever ago, that Friday was my follow-up day. Now I do more than that, and I think that's why I went away from calling it that. But I do freebie or follow-up Friday, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, so, and also I turn my notifications off so that like it doesn't show up on my app. You can see that right there, there's no notifications, but when I open it, it has the notification. So that way it's not popping up on my phone, because look, I'm definitely queen, no notifications, I can't handle it. So, um, yeah, so she's saying that she does her mail at the first of the month. So that's a great way. Now, if you're not following up with your customers, you are doing yourself and everybody else a disservice, because what's going to happen is they're going to eventually find a consultant that is following up with their customers, and they're going to eventually possibly start buying from them because you're following up with them. You are not bothering somebody by following up with them, because that is your job as a Scentsy consultant. So you have to be following up with your customers. If you're giving somebody something and not following up with them, you are doing yourself a disservice. Now, I saw some people say about getting contact info. So if you didn't watch, Anna Hughes did a video on United We Rise, and they talked about that, like how it's awkward to get contact info. Trust me, your girl knows how awkward it is. So there's a couple things you could do. You could carry drawing slips in your purse or whatever, and when you give somebody something, ask them to fill out that drawing slip, okay? Or you could have them text you their email or their phone number. Some people are, especially if you meet them out in public, some people are really not going to be comfortable giving you their address, and that's okay. Get something from them. If you don't want to use a drawing slip, ask them to friend you on Facebook or like your business page or something like that, so that you have some type of way to get up with them. Or you can say, oh my gosh, I forgot my samples at home, but I would love to be able to give you one. Can you text me your address or whatever? You just need to think of a creative way to get it down. Whether it be, I don't sit there and put it in Maven right then. It may be me friending them on Facebook. It may be them texting it to me. But that's why it's really, 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 really important that from the very beginning that you're getting all of your customers' info on the order forms, and you're putting it into your workstation, because I have people that I never followed up with, and I legit have no way to follow up with them because I never put their information in there. And then I know it does remind you to like follow up with people. So that you haven't talked to in a long time, if there's somebody that I haven't talked to in a long time and I really don't have a relationship with them and I just feel like I'd feel like really slimy to reach out to them, I delete them out of my Maven. So that way it doesn't continue to come up. I've never sat down and just went and cleaned out my entire Maven because I just don't have time for that. But when it pops up as my notification, I will just go and delete their contact info. Oh, Rhonda, that's a good idea. She said the drawing slip is a great way to pass out samples. Tell customer to send them a picture once they fill it out and they can be entered into your monthly drawing. Absolutely. That's a great way to do that. There's tons of different ways. I know I posted on one of our pages, the Kimberly Paluto world tour, about expanding your network. That's something that we all need to be doing all the time. So we can talk about that some more later. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to share my screen again. And the first thing I'm going to talk about, or I'm going to show you guys, is so Jessica, this is probably going to help you when it comes to, so like specifically for Scent of the Month, this is what Chloe does because Maven stresses her out. It's not what she wants to do. So under mail out requests, this is kind of what she's done. So instead of putting it in her Maven, she just uses this. I think she changed it to do like February Scent of the Month. And she doesn't, honestly, she said she doesn't write all of that stuff down. She'll just write February Scent of the Month, and she writes their name and when she sent it. And she does this bulk just like I do. So she'll write down all of those people's names, and when she's ready to follow up with them, she'll come to this page in her planner and follow up with them that way. Let me know if that makes sense, Jessica. And I mean, honestly, I created this form because there's been a lot of times in my business that somebody may have asked me for something and I'm at work, or basically I'm at work and I forget. So I write it down there. And then when I'm home in my office, I can go and make sure that I get that mailed out to them. So that is a system that I use for keeping up. You can also keep up with your samples like that as well. Or one thing you can also do is if you have a bag party and you are gonna put Scentsy Soak samples in all of those bags, absolutely, when you follow up with your people to make sure that they got their order and they were happy, ask them if they use that Scentsy Soak sample. Because if I didn't go and write it down or put it in my Maven, when I follow up with them to make sure their order was good, I'm not going to remember what samples I put in there. But I could say Kelly's bag party, I put Johnny Appleseed Wax Shimmer Scentsy Soak, and I can at least follow up with them after I say, did you like all of your scents? Was everything great? And I can say, have you had a chance to take a bath with the Scentsy Soak, or whatever it is. That way I can be very, very intentional with that. So I hope that that is helpful for you. Now, the one thing I do want to say though, is that a lot of these forms that I'm going to show you tonight, they are not something that you have to have. The biggest thing that you have to have is a system to follow up with your customers and a system to be consistent with booking parties. Whatever that looks like is what you need to do. If you don't like what I have or you want to change it, then change it. I am a paper pencil kind of girl. I have my happy planner. I put my things in it. This is what I do. If you are more of an electronic girl, then you can upload these forms into your Google Drive, link them to your calendar, and do it that way as well. So don't feel like my way is the highway, because it's definitely, it doesn't have to be my way. So I'm going to come back to the other things. So this is my bag party booking log. And the reason why I keep this is because I always try to have at least 8 bag parties out at a time. Does it always happen? No. Do I sometimes forget who might have a bag party, or if somebody borrowed a bag to smell and then they're taking 5 years to get it back? Sometimes that happens, right? And I want to make sure that I am keeping track of who's hosting a bag party for me. And then I don't throw these away just because, heaven forbid, something ever happened to the workstation. I can go back and see, okay, well, who had a party for me last March? Who had a party for me during the 10% off sale? So I can write it there and keep that taken care of. This right here is my list of 100, which I've now like renamed my Frank's list. So you can use whatever you want, but I still keep this in my planner because every single month I go back and add to my list of 100. Because if you are not consistently growing your list, it's going to make a lot of things very difficult. Patty, I actually updated, if you guys go to the description post in Shine Your Light Leader or Leaders in Light, I updated the description for my Google Drive link. It's also in the pinned post. So they are there for you all the time. Now, you guys will not be able to request access. I will deny it because then that would mean that you can edit my files. What you'll have to do is download them and then you can edit them as you want or whatever else. This right here is the Hostess Coaching Checklist. This is a way for me to hold myself accountable to make sure that I am doing all of the things that I need to do. So even if I'm doing a home party, I still usually give my people a bag. That way they're collecting orders on the outside, etc. So this is just something to hold myself accountable. If it doesn't work for you, you don't have to do it. But like I said, you want to keep this simple. If these things are overwhelming you, don't do it. I don't use every single one of these, but these are things that I have used to help me. This is what I have at the beginning of every single month. And I write down my parties that I already have, like as I book them. So right now it's the 15th. Tomorrow's Monday, which I always try to do my hardest activities on Mondays and at the beginning of the week because you have more energy and stuff, right? So tomorrow I'm going to be working on front loading my calendar for April. And I'm going to have this sheet already printed out for April, and I am going to start writing down the people that I've asked. When I book one, I'm going to have it down here, and etc. So I'm going to make sure that I have all my hosting conversations, I have joined conversations. And the biggest thing that I feel like people fail to do is that they're not thinking ahead. They're thinking about right now. And you always have to be thinking ahead, because if you don't know how you're going to get your 500 PRV in this month, you're already 15 days behind, because you have to know where that's going to come from, because you never want to be scrambling for that. So halfway through the month, it's not that I'm done with March. I'm still working my tail off, but I'm also going to front load for April so I know when those things are happening. Also, I'm getting parties out. If they want to host right now, they can host right now, and I can close it on the last day of March. I can close it on the first day of April and automatically be active, etc. So that's what I use to plan my month, and I'm very intentional with that. This is a new tracker that I just came up with here recently, and I am a big fan of it because I know that I wasn't doing a good job of maybe reaching out to people about pods, right? And that's something that we really need to be intentional about, because they can't get refills from anybody else but a Scentsy consultant. So what I did is I actually went in my customer reports, and I went all the way back to when we first started selling Scentsy Goes and the pods just came out. And I went and I wrote down every single person that has ever bought a Scentsy Go, a wall diffuser, or a wall fan diffuser, or one of our mini fans, okay? And I have it in my planner, so then not only when I am working on follow-up for something else, I can also specifically touch base with these people about their pods. I also wrote down, if you had people that got the March whiff box, you need to write them down because they got a mini fan diffuser. And so that's not going to be necessarily listed under your customer order products because it doesn't list what was in that box. But we know if they got a March whiff box, they got a mini fan. So all of those people that got a mini fan, I wrote it down and they got it from the whiff box, etc. So now I know I can follow up with these people. Okay, because some people are going to be really intentional about their smells and know when their pods are running out, but not everybody's going to do that. And I wanted to make sure I was keeping track of that. I've also went back and found all of my people that have diffusers, and I let them know, personally reached out to them about our new deluxe diffuser and the differences and etc. So just make sure that you're giving good customer service and letting your customers know that you're actually thinking about them. Jessica, this is also another tracker that somebody had, and I just put it in here, and you could print it out honestly for the whole year, and you can write down the different samples that you give. So if you're giving somebody a counter clean sample, you can write this down, response, if they ordered, etc. Justin, I know for sure, is a big numbers guy, so he wants to know, is he getting a good return on his investment for giving out these washer whip samples, etc. So this is another way that you could track your samples if you're not doing Maven for your customers. And then this is also just like another party planning sheet if you wanted to use it. This would be one sheet per person. So like one party would have this sheet, and this is just something else that you could use to kind of track your stuff when it comes to that. I'm trying to think. I know I have. So one other one that I have, and I'll make sure that it's in the Google Drive, is I have the pre-order request form, because sometimes obviously you can't put in pre-orders into the workstation. So I keep up with who they are, when I'm ordering, what I'm ordering, am I direct shipping it, are they local, and how they paid. That's something that I keep up with as well. If you have a different system of keeping it in your phone, you can do that too. I just wanted to share that with you. And then the last one I have is my thank yous for website orders, because for me, I only go and do my thank you cards for website orders once a week, because that's what works for me. And so I would sit down to go and do my website orders, and then I couldn't remember who the last person I sent something to was, and it was just a lot. So I have it in my planner, and all I do is I write down their name. So like Maria is the last person I sent a thank you to. I just say that it was updated until her. So when I sit down to go and do my thank you notes, I know exactly who the last person I sent info to was. Like I said, please don't get overwhelmed with these things that are here. These things are tools for you, but they are not something that you have to use when it comes to like paper pencil. If something is not working for you, stop doing it. Because I know when I first started out, I was trying to do things that other people were doing, and it didn't work for me. And that is why I created this, because doing it another way didn't work. Yeah, you can't do everything. And if you don't need a form for website orders, and it's just going to sit as an empty sheet of paper in your planner or on your desk, then don't print it out. This is just how my brain works, because I have to remind myself what I need to do. I'm guilty of thinking only right now. What do you mean? Also, let me show you a different thing. Oh, on bookings, yeah. And I can get really caught up in it and not do that as well. So one other thing I wanted to show you guys is, let me see if the old label system is in. So when I originally created systems 2 years ago, I created this system. And what this was I literally, can you guys still see my screen? Am I still screen sharing? No? Okay, hold on, sorry. Okay, so this is my old system. This is what I created about 2 years ago during the summer, because during the summer I find it's a lot harder for me to work because I'm at home and I have more time and I feel like I just waste it. So something that's worked for me, and this works for Bailey and a couple of other people, and I know Katie still uses these. So these are what I made for me, and you can fix the things that are on them based on what you want to do. So Monday was my follow-up day, and these were the things that I did. And when it says connect with Daily 5, that meant I was being intentional on social media to go connect with people, adding 5 people to my VIP group. Okay, Tuesday was my team day, and these were the things that I did. Wednesday was my booking day. These were the things that I did. Thursday, Friday, etc. If having a specific day of the week is what would work for you, please do that. And you can even just remind yourself of that. So how this was actually created is because Christina Stainbrook, you can look her up on YouTube, created something called Scalable Systems. And she was using a binder for each day of the week. And so what she would do is she would just take her binder out, and those were the things that she did. And she sort of organized it this way. For me, I needed something all in one place because I didn't want to have a bunch of different things. So that's why I created this. I know Stacy McDonald, like Tuesdays are her delivery days, and her customers know that. If an order comes in randomly in the middle of the week or whatever, she'll box it up and you can come to her house and get it. But if you want her to deliver it, she's doing it on Tuesdays after she takes her kids to tumbling. And so you just have to figure out what's going to work for you and decide what's going to work. If you know Mondays are crazy for you, then make that adjustment. But these are ideas to put things in place for how you need to work. And then the other thing that I had in my planner were things that I did on, it's not saved right, for like the 1st of the month, the 10th of the month, the 15th, etc. So this is also a monthly to-do list. And some of these may not apply to you if you don't have a team yet or whatever, but you could change it. So cleaning up the team page, scheduling all the things, not all of these have anything to do with sales. I know front loading does, but some of the other things don't. The best thing I can say to do is find what works for you. If a planner is not going to work, don't do it. Now, let me also show you what I use to, this is also another sheet for party bookings. You can just write down all of that. Guys, everything that I ever have is for you guys. This is also something that I sent to one of my directors who was having trouble like deciding what to do. This is a template. You could save this to your phone and go and type in the things you want to do, then print it out and keep it right there for you every week. Or if you want it to just be for the whole month, write down all the things you need to do over here and you've planned it out. And then, for instance, your daily to-dos, because you always need to be doing income producing activities every single day, you can write those IPAs down here. So there's tons of different things that you can use to figure out what's going to work for you and hold yourself accountable. But it starts with you. If you don't put that system in place, there's nothing that anybody can do to help you be successful if you aren't putting in the work to work your business. And then lastly, I'm just going to show you one of my checklists. I'm going to show you this personal one. I think for some reason, some of mine like didn't save with my stuff in it, but I saved the blank ones for you guys. And I am very much a checklist person, but I'm not a daily person. So like it didn't work for me during the school year to have a specific day for each thing because I'm just too like crazy. But doing it this way has worked for me. Sorry guys, I have these saved like in 8,000 places and some of them. Okay, so here's the updated one. So I have this tracker and I get to keep it for the whole year because you can see at the top it has January through December, and then I have it broken down by weeks, and this is mostly just for my personal business. However, what I want you guys to realize is that I don't have Maven on here. Why? Because it's now a habit of mine that I've already created that every Friday I go and do that. So I don't need it on my checklist. But if you need, I used to have get your Maven to 0 on my checklist. But now since that's a habit, I don't need to do that. And I've actually updated mine where this says schedule a team page post. I took that off. That's a habit of mine. And as you continue to do things for 21 or more days, it will become a habit and you won't have to have your checklist on here. But you can see that I do have things on here like PWS mailouts. And I added share my story on Instagram. And I'm going to do that in week 1 of every month. Why do I need to write that down? Because if I don't, I'll get too caught up in the moment and not do it. Okay. And then here, Jessica, I have front load / booking blitz because I need to remind myself it's the second week of the month. I need to front load my calendar. Okay. I need to post about Earn a Kit on Facebook and Instagram. And then down here, so you can see that each week I have put something else about joining in my checklist. So I make sure to do that for myself. Now you guys are getting emails from me on Mondays. I know that's been Not happening this past week because I was setting up these calls, but that's going to start back again. Then you can see here at week 4, it has update list of 100. So I go in and add anybody new that I've added on social media that I've started to talk to, anybody else that I've missed or that I've just like started building a relationship with. I go and write all of those things down. I would suggest, if you are just starting, trying to create some type of system, is I would ask you to write down the things that you need to do every single month for your business. Just do like a long list of everything that you do, and then organize that list into things that you need to either do daily, weekly, or monthly. Okay?
Wayfair hasn't added support for the Tut Siri.
Sorry, that scared the shit out of me. My Siri just started talking for no reason. Sorry, guys. I am the most jumpy person on the face of the planet. So like I was saying, make a list of every single thing that you do for your personal business. And the reason why I'm not talking about sponsoring or coaching or anything yet is because I know a lot of you guys were saying that you were overwhelmed. So I want to take this slow, and I want everybody that's on this call tonight. And guys, I am so proud of the 24 of y'all that are on here. I appreciate you guys so much. I'll be honest, like I wasn't feeling like doing this training. I was traveling all weekend. We stayed up too late and did way too many things all weekend. And I honestly was just not in the mood, but I showed up for you guys to do the hard things, even when I don't feel like it sometimes, because I want to pour into you guys. So this week, what I want you guys to do is come up with your personal business systems. Do not just go on my Google Drive and print everything out that I use, because you will fail. And I'm not saying that to be mean. I'm saying that because you have to figure out what works for you. Okay? Figure out what works for you. Now, I know for Felicia, she uses a whiteboard. I have a whiteboard in my office where I have my goals written down for the month. And so I can see it every day when I walk into my office. I have my goals there. And so I can remind myself, even when I'm not feeling like it, to do it anyway. So I want you guys to, and actually what I want you guys to tell me really quick in the comments is, I want you to tell me if you're a planner person, if you're a digital person, or like how you like to see things, what helps you. Because not everybody's a planner person. And I was trying to make Anna Oliveira be a freaking planner person, and it was never going to work because it's just not who she is. Okay, so I love that. And now Becca and Vanessa, you guys are both. And I know that Bailey, I'm pretty sure she shared on all the pages how to do these things in Google Drive. Now, let me tell you this for those of you guys that are both. For your checklists, I want you to pick, because if you don't pick, you are going to be going back and forth and be even more unorganized than you were before. So I want you to pick. And Beth, if you are a digital person and that works better for you, do it that way. Because I know in the technology world, I would rather do it digitally, but I know me, and I'm going to get distracted and start shopping or get on Amazon or multitask, or my Facebook will go off. So that's why I don't do it digitally. So what I'm going to tell you is I want you to pick one, and you can sleep on it. You can think about it. Whatever it is you choose to do, I want you to pick one. Now, that doesn't mean I'm not going to use Maven, because yes, Maven is my technology, but this is all I do on my phone for my checklist. Because if I do both, you're just going to go crazy, because there's no way for you to keep yourself accountable in both places. You're going to forget to check it off. So choose first. And yes, I'm glad that you guys are saying that it was overwhelming. So whatever it is that you need to do it that way. Okay. And then if you like the sheet that is like, if you like the one sheet like this, where you organize it by week, then do it that way. If you like it the way that I have it with the labels, where I label it by the day, then do it that way. You could even come on these trackers, guys, and label it Monday, I'm going to do all of these things. Tuesday, I'm going to do all of these things. Just because I have it like separated like that doesn't mean that you need to do it that way. However your brain works. Honestly, during the summer, I go back to one day being like my focus. Otherwise, I will be so squirrely all day, then the day's gone and I won't have done anything really productive. I'll have done a lot of fluff. Yes, so routine definitely needs to be in place, whatever it is you're going to do. Lose track of the planner. Yeah. And I mean, like I said, I would love to be digital, but I just get too distracted. My planner goes with me everywhere I go. I was on this SSD retreat this weekend and I had my planner with me because I'm not going anywhere without it, because if I need anything, it's in here. So, and I know that Jessica said I made the mistake of just going and printing everything. Don't go and do that. So this is your homework assignment. And I'm not really going to give you a homework assignment, but I really am, because if you don't go do this, it's never going to get any better for you. And then next week, when we're talking about sponsoring and leadership, you're going to get even more overwhelmed. So I want you to use this entire week to get your systems together. And I want you guys to really show up for me, okay? Show up for me on the team pages and show me what you're doing. Show me if you're printing them out, or if you created your own, or if you bought a planner to put your stuff in, or if you're doing it on Google Drive. Please show me, because I want to see that this is valuable, and I want to see who's showing up, because these people that aren't on this call tonight, they're going to be watching and they're going to be like, oh man, I missed out and I need to get it together. So write down every single thing you do for your business every single day. Or just make a list. So I'm getting so scatterbrained. I'm sorry. Write down every single thing you do, everything, even if it's super simple. Making samples is something you need to write down. Following up with customers is something you need to write down. I mean, emailing your customers is something you need to write down if it's not a habit. I email my customers at least once a week, sometimes more than that. And until something becomes a habit, you need to write it down, because your people don't care about something that you do once. They care about what you do consistently. So write every single thing down, then organize it by daily, weekly, and monthly. And this is exactly what I did to create the systems that worked for me. I wrote down everything and then I organized it. So after organizing it that way, then I could see how I wanted to lay it out. And I know Felicia uses a big whiteboard and she writes down all of the things. And like I said, just figure out what works for you and choose. You can see that. I'm so glad that you guys are commenting on here that you were doing both and you were getting overwhelmed, because other people need to learn from our mistakes. Instead of doing it that way, just pick one and go with it. And then if you see it doesn't work for you, then switch it. But don't try and do both, or it's just going to get too crazy. So Vanessa, that is what I use for my customer follow-up system. And then I'm not sure if you might have got on late, but then also I've shown a lot of the other forms. A lot of the other forms, guys, they're just for me. You don't have to use all of those forms. But if you weren't using Maven, or you don't have a customer follow-up system, you need to. If you don't have a system for how you contact your customers about these LTOs, you need one. And when I say system, that doesn't mean something crazy. That means a schedule. So for instance, let me show you one more, guys, and then I promise I'm going to get off, because I said this training was going to be quick. Also I'll share this as well. So this is another leader that is amazing. And if you don't like my forms, use hers. Felicia Fitzgerald, if you don't know her, if you don't follow her, please go do that, because she's freaking fabulous. So she created these after I kind of started mine. She's much better at creating them more beautifully. So here is her monthly checklist. And this is what she says that she does on the 1st, on the 10th, etc., because she needs to hold herself consistent. And that's sort of really, really hard to say. Okay, so I can't open that any bigger. Anyway, you'll be able to see it better on your computer. The one I wanted to show you was this right here. This is her personal business form. And what she does, and she prints this out every single month, and she writes down her goals or her previous month. She schedules all of her obligations, so like her date nights, her appointments, everything in her calendar. She sets her business hours, and then this is how she plans her personal business. And I do this, but like in my brain. I don't write it down in this way. So she writes down what she's going to do for PRV. And you may be thinking, well, there's 5 slots. What does she mean? Well, she may be doing scent bags. Then if you know, bring back my bars coming. And then she's going to follow up with her customers. And she's doing a fundraiser and online bingo or whatever. That's what she would write there. And so she can keep reminding herself. For sponsoring, her things may be going and talking to people at other businesses, building relationships, sending out 10 join packets, doing polls on her Instagram story once every week in the month or whatever. And then customer service, lots of different other things. She does customer service events. If you need to plan it out like that for your personal business, then do that. And then she schedules everything else around that, if that makes sense. So that's something else that you guys could use. It really just depends on what you want. And then what I actually came to show you guys was, she had one, I don't know. Oh, here it is, monthly emails. So she actually plans out what email she's going to send to her customers and her team at the beginning of the month. And this is actually something that I probably should start doing, so I'm not just like scrambling on whatever day I decide to send my email. And you know what? I'm actually going to print this out, and this is what I'm going to do, because I am going to be more intentional with what I'm sending you guys. So I'm going to plan what I'm going to send on the Monday of these weeks. And like I said, I send emails to my customers at least 4 times. So you can write down what you want to send. Obviously, it can change, but this way you're at least holding yourself accountable and you've got a plan. Because if you don't have a plan for how you're going to be successful, you're going to plan to fail. And I'm not saying that to be ugly, but everybody has something that comes up and that makes you forget everything that you were supposed to be doing that day. Or the whole day gets away from you and you don't do anything. And I have days like that all the time. But I make a point to come sit in my office for 15 minutes before I go take a shower and do something that's income producing, even if I haven't done anything else all day because my day was crazy. And that is what makes a difference in successful people. They're not in my Google Drive, but I'm going to actually put them in I'll share it in a minute when I get off, and then I'll also put it in the descriptions because she doesn't care. She is amazing. She shares everything. Jessica said, what are some examples of things you send to your customers? So there's a couple different things that you can do. And thank you for asking that, because that's definitely part of the sales thing that I haven't really talked about. So some things that I do is Freebie Friday. I usually do that at least once a month. If you can't afford to do Freebie Friday and like send full-size stuff, do Freebie Friday, but do it a big sample pack of the first 5 people that don't even have to order sometimes. I know Katie has had a lot of success with this. The first 5 people to respond back, drop it like it's hot, you get a big Sparkle sample pack. And she just sends them a bunch of samples that she already has made, and she asks them to tag her on social media when they get it. So that's one thing, just to like show your customers appreciation. Something else that you can do is say, like at the beginning of the month, I will like tell them these are the things that are coming out this month. This is my personal special for this month. This is my hostess special for this month. Stuff like that. So I just kind of inform them at the beginning of the month. I always send out a first of the month email to them. And then a lot of my emails are Freebie Fridays, and then or about LTOs. And sometimes I'll just send an email and just be like, thank you so much. I appreciate you. I know last month when I was doing a lot of the Tip Tuesdays, I gave them like the tips. I told them how to change their wax. I told them, I sent all of my customers, I did a video on the deluxe diffuser that I am able to send my customers as well, because if you don't have a new deluxe diffuser, you have to put both toggle buttons all the way to the left for it to reset. Like if it turns off and your customer just tries to turn it back on again, it won't if you don't turn them both all the way to the left. And I had to learn that. And one of my customers was like, it's broken. And so I decided to just do a video and my little care sheet. So I sent that to all my customers. I wasn't trying to sell them anything. I literally just sent them that because I wanted to share with them. And then, yeah, I'll say just kind of stuff like that. If anybody else has any things for customer email, please post those in there. And anytime you guys send email to your people, please share it. One thing that I do if I'm really hustling hard or I want to do a big customer appreciation, I'll tell them what the freebie would be. Like spend $50, get $50 before tax, and put it in this party link, get a free counter clean. And then if you spend $75, you get a free 3-pack of bars or whatever. And I tell them that is how that it'll ship separate. And then just customer education. I've noticed that a lot of my personal customers didn't know that when they put it in a party, that it's helping me send them free stuff. So I actually like put that disclaimer in there. I'm like, PS, it helps me send you freebies when you click a party link. It's not going to hold your order up or not charge you right away, because I know like 31, for instance, if you buy from a party, it doesn't charge you or start shipping till the consultant closes that party. And we know Scentsy's not like that. So educating your customers on that. Okay. So what do you mean smell mail? Like me just say happy smell mail, Emily? And I mean, sometimes I just like send things in the mail too. You can just send happy mail. If you see one of your customers is having a really hard time, send them a scent circle to brighten their day. I mean, you just have to be creative. Yeah, and I send all kinds of stuff when I send stuff in the mail. I also sent them, my customers, I have this referral card where the new customer gets $10 off their $50 order, and then on the back it tells them like how they get free stuff, like my customer that's referring them, so they're both getting something. I send that every couple months. Not only like in their mail outs, but I'll remind them of my referral program because we're always trying to build new people. Okay. Yeah. So, Laura, I will post Felicia's Google Drive. I think I actually scheduled one of her video from World Tour on one of our pages this week. I'm pretty positive I did. So I'll go ahead and like share all of that so you guys can see her. Does anybody have any other questions about personal business? I know we didn't really talk much about like bag parties and home parties, but guys, there's a million trainings out there. I have some on my workstation, on my YouTube channel. I have an updated one that's everything in my spring bag parties. So go watch that. If you want to know how I hostess coach my bag party people, go to my YouTube channel. I uploaded my customer hostess coaching video to my YouTube channel because it makes it easier for me to send to my customers, not really just for you guys, but it's there for you guys anyway. So that's what I send them. Events, fundraisers, home parties, there's a million things out there. I'm not going to train you guys on that on this because that's just not what this is about. This is about getting the systems in place because you have to be doing things consistently. And that's also why I have that adding to my list of 100 on my list, because you have to be building your customer base. Any other questions about anything? Just remember, if what you're doing, if you don't have any type of system in place right now, go. Don't walk, but run to get a system in place by next Sunday for your personal business. Because if you're going to show up on these calls, it makes no sense to sit here and waste an hour on your Sunday night if you're not going to go and take any action. You are completely wasting your time and everybody else's time if you're not going to go do anything about it. And that is why I created these systems, because I was scrambling, I was dying, I needed something and I couldn't find anything that worked for me. So I made it. And so now you have so many different leaders that are willing to share all of these different systems. You can find something that works for you. My Google form, the QR code maker for my Google form. What do you mean? Like to go to my Google form? If that's what you mean, I literally I Google QR creator and you just type in that code. I save it as an image. If I'm on my phone, I just do it and it saves to my camera roll. If I'm on my computer, I save it to my desktop and name it whatever it is, and then just put it in my flyer. I feel like that's it. There's a couple other, no, I mean, there might be an app you can use on your phone, but I usually make my QR codes just on the computer because it's a lot faster and I can do it just while I'm sitting in my office. Honestly, if I have my phone, I get really distracted. And so I try not to do things on that for right now because I've noticed I'm like addicted. For the Google Drive stuff, like if you want it electronically, before you even try to get anything electronically, you're gonna have to have it like in a Google Drive, or like you're gonna have to have it on a computer, like in a format anyway. So before you decide to try and go create it on the computer or link your stuff to your Google Calendar, make it work on your Google Drive first and make it how you want it to be. And then I'm almost positive Bailey posted on here how hers is on there. And when you go to her calendar app, you can see each thing. And like I said, she does Monday for a specific day, etc. Anybody else have any other questions? I know there's a couple apps that people use where you can do like checklists and stuff. If that's something that works for you, or if you find an app, please share it with us. The biggest thing that you need a system for, guys, is how you're going to get PRV, how you're going to book parties, who you've asked, how you're following up with your people. Everything else is just extra. So do not just go and print everything I have. You have to do what works for you. Okay? I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Make your lists, narrow it down. Don't do what I'm doing. If it doesn't work, and just because it's on my list doesn't mean you have to do it, because I don't do some things that other people do because it's just doesn't bring me joy. Making my own lift boxes does not bring me joy. That would make me crazy, so I don't do it. But we have to take care of our customers. All right? So I am going to stop the recording. I will